Hello students, welcome to RD Chemistry. In this video, I am going to explain the concept of crystal field splitting. Before I start, those who are watching for the first time, please do subscribe RD Chemistry, like the videos, share the videos and please do comment. So now I'll explain crystal field splitting. In the last video, you have studied the postulates of the crystal field theory, CFT. There we speak about the d orbital splitting. D orbital splitting, correct? D orbital splitting. So we'll start with the types of the d orbitals. Students, tell me now, how many types of d orbitals are there? 5 types of d orbitals are there, correct? 5 types of d orbitals are there. Can you name them? Yeah, we have got dxy. Then we have got dyz. Then dzx or xz. Then we have got d x square minus y square. And then we have got d z square. Correct? I'm going to draw 3 axes now. We want 3 axes, right? So we have got x axis, we have got y axis, and let it be the z axis. Let it be the z axis. Okay? I can interchange these axes also, but they are perpendicular to each other. On the other way, I can take this as the minus x, this is the minus y, and I can take the minus z axis, correct? So there are 6 points are there on the axis. So I'll draw the sketch of these or shapes of these orbitals. What is the shape in general for d orbitals? This is the double dumbbell shape. Double dumbbell shape, correct? Double dumbbell shape, correct? So let me draw the first one, dxy. When I say dxy, third axis is not there, z axis. I want xy plane only. Let it be x, let it be y. Perpendicular to this one, z is not there. Now double dumbbell. Here, dumbbells are there in between the axis. First dumbbell and the second dumbbell in between the axis. On this xy plane it is. Next one, dyz. Okay. Now you have to consider only 2 axes here. Okay. Forget about the x-axis. Now what I'll do, I can also rotate these axes. So we'll have got only y and z on this plane of the screen here. Okay. X is perpendicular to this plane, xz plane. Okay. But we are not interested in. So here dumbbells are also there in between the axis. Between y and z axis. Okay. Between y and z axis. Okay. Next one. dzx. Okay. Here also, I don't want a third axis, that is the y axis. So let me rotate all these axes, let it be x and this is the z. Here also lobes are there, okay, dumbbells are there in between the axis. Next one, dx square minus y square. Here also I want only 2 axes. I want only 2 axes, correct? So let it be xy plane only, xy plane only. Now here lobes are there on the axis. Remember student, lobes are there on the axis, on x-axis and on y-axis. Correct? Right? Last one is a d z square. Here we can see only one axis. Okay? So let me draw x-axis. This let it be z-axis for my convenience and let it be the y-axis. Okay? Which are not interested. But here in this case, lobe is there on the z-axis only. Remember here, in this case, only one dumbbell is there. Double dumbbell is not there. Okay. And also we have got a ring-like shape here around that lobe. Now see here, in the first case, dxy, second case, dyz, third case, dzx. Here, 3 are there, dxy, dyz, and dzx. Here, lobes are in between the axis, in between the axis. Remember this one, in between the axis. Okay. In case of dx square minus y square, and dz square, the lobes are there on the axis. This is very important, on the axis. So 3 have got lobes in between the axis and 2 have got on the axis. Very important to study d orbital splitting in the octahedral and the tetrahedral entities. Clear? Now I'll explain crystal field splitting in octahedral entity. When I say crystal field splitting means the d orbital splitting. Okay. Now let me draw a cube like this. Okay. So let me have one square, first square. Let me have the second square. Let me have the second square. I'll join the corners of these to get a cube, some cuboid. Okay, like this. Clear? Now I'll write the metal here. Okay, let it be metal here. This is the center metal atom. When I say octahedral entity, there should be 6 ligand. So this is the general formula, Ml6. Okay, clear? Now let me write the ligands. Okay, and also let me extend the axis. So let it be x axis, let it be plus x, let it be minus x. Okay, let it be minus x, let it be plus y, and let it be minus y. Okay, and here perpendicular to this one we have got plus z, and let it be minus z, minus z. I said there are 6 ligands. Now where are the 6 ligands? 6 ligands approach the central metal atom along the 6 axis. When I say 6 axis, plus and minus, put them together. So let me write ligand number 1, ligand number 2, okay, ligand number 1, ligand number 2, ligand number 3, ligand number 4, ligand number 5, and ligand number 6. 6 ligand approach the central metal atom along the 6 direction. That means along the axis. Okay, clear? Now let me draw the orbitals of the ligands. Ligands also get orbitals, and they have got electrons in them, correct? So there are electrons on the ligands. What is the job of the ligand? Ligand donate their electron pair to the central metal atom and they form the complex, correct? But in case of crystal field splitting, in case of CFT, metal ligand is taken as the ionic bond, okay, which is against the VBT. And for the 6th ligand also with the orbital containing electron. Clear? Now I'll draw orbitals of the metal. I'll write on the axis only. Okay. So metals have got dx square minus y square and dz square. These two orbitals have got their lobes on the axis. So I'm going to draw on the axis. When I say dx square minus square, on the x axis, on the y axis, and dz square on the z axis, correct? Correct. Now here also these metal d orbitals have got ligands in them, correct? What will happen now? Ligands have got electrons in their orbital, metals have got electrons in the orbital. When they come very closer to the metal atom, what will happen? Electron repulsion will take place, correct? Electron repulsion takes place. Now there are 3 orbitals, dxy, dyz, and dzx. These 3 are there in between the axis. Will they repel more? No, they will not repel more. So they will repel less or attract more. Okay. So these two will repel more because the ligands approach along the axis and they will repel less. Okay. They will repel less. Okay. So what will happen now? Actually, we have got altogether how many types of d orbitals? 5 types of d orbitals were there, correct? And they were called as the degenerate d orbitals because without the ligands, all the 5 types had got same energy. When now ligand approaches, their energy will change. Their energy will have 2 different sets of energies. Therefore, 2 sets of energies are known as the now called crystal field splitting. Splitting of the energy will take place, or we also call it the crystal field splitting. Clear? So that we'll study in the form of this sketch now. So consider we require energy. Okay, we are interested in energies of these orbitals. Correct? Energies of these orbitals. So let this be the energy. To begin with, without the ligands, metal has got 5 types of d orbitals, and let me draw in the form of line like this. Okay, given in the inside textbook. Okay, so these are known as the degenerated d orbitals. Without the ligand, they have got same energy. Okay, without the ligand, they have got same energy. Therefore, they are called the degenerated d orbitals. Okay, degenerated d orbitals they are called as degenerated d orbitals. Correct. Now, metal ligand bond is ionic bond. Metal is positively charged and the ligand is negatively charged due to electrons according to crystal field theory. So what will happen now? When the ligand approaches the metal, there will be repulsion taking place. Okay. There is a repulsion along the axis is more compared to in between the axis. Therefore, we are going to take the average energy for these two sets. So therefore, now energy will increase compared to the initial. Okay. So 5 types will have now more energy. This is the average energy. Average energy. Correct. So some will repel more, some will repel less. We are going to take the average. So let be the average here. Okay. So let this be the average here somewhere here. And this is known as the barycenter. This is also known as the barycenter. This is also called the barycenter. You know that there are two d orbitals. They are dx square minus y square, dz square. They will repel more because the ligand will approach the metal along the axis. They repel more along the axis. And the three types dxy, dyz, and d. Okay, they will repel less. They will repel less. So therefore 3 will decrease in energy. This will increase in energy and this will decrease in energy. Okay, and total energy gap is taken as the 1 delta O. It is taken 1 delta O. Delta stands for difference, delta energy gap. O stands for the octahedral complex, octahedral field it is. Now how much it will increases now? This will increase by 0.6 time increases with respect to this average energy barycenter increase 0.6 time, 0.6 delta O. This will decrease here, so I'll write minus 0.4 delta O. Okay, so this plus or minus only with respect to this barycenter, whether the energy is increasing or decreasing. When you put them together 0.6 and 0.4 it is 1 delta O. Okay, clear? Now see here, energies are not same. Okay, these two have got more energy and these two have got less energy, and these are represented by T2G for these three types of the d orbital which are in between the axis and which are there on the axis. They are called as the EG orbitals. Okay, so 5 types of d orbital will split into two sets of d orbitals having different energies, and these sets are called as the T2G set and EG set. Which will repel more? EG will repel more. Which will repel less? This is the T2G set will repel less. Clear? This is the sketch of the crystal field splitting in the octahedral entity. Clear? Now I'll explain crystal field splitting in the tetrahedral entity. Tetrahedral entity means there should be 4 ligands around the central metal atom. Okay, so let's be the general formula. So let me go for the cube now, or the cuboid. Okay, consider 2 squares, first square and the second square like this. Okay, second square. Let me join the corners. Let me join the corners. Okay. Now I'll write place the metal in the cube here. In the cube here, there should be 4 ligands. Now where are the 4 ligands? They are in the alternative corners of the cube. Okay, here and here, here and here, alternatively placed. So let me take the L1, ligand number 1, ligand number 2, ligand number 3 and ligand number 4. Let me join them like this. Okay. Ligand number 1, let me write wavy line. 1, 2, third ligand and the fourth ligand. Clear? Now let me draw the axis. Okay. Let me draw the axis. Here, let it be plus x. Let it be minus x. Let it be plus y. Let it be minus y. Okay. And here, let it be plus z. And let it be here minus z. Correct? Clear? Now see the ligand. Ligand 1, ligand 2, ligand 3, ligand 4. They are not on the axis. They are in between the axis. In between the axis. In between the axis. And also you remember dxy, dyz and dzx. These are also in between the axis. In between the axis. Now tell me which one repel more. So dxy, yz, dzx repel more. They will repel more compared to d x square minus y square and d z square. They will repel less. They will repel less. So which will increase energy? So this set will increase in energy and this set will decrease in the energy. Okay. Hope it is clear to you people. Right. Now here the d orbiter which are in between the axis are toward the ligand approach. So they will increase energy, remaining two will decrease energy. So let me draw the sketch for this. So to begin with, without the ligand, all the 5 types of d orbitals have got same energy. Therefore, they are called as the degenerate d orbitals. Correct? Degenerate d orbitals. Degenerated d orbitals. When the ligand approaches the central metal atom, what will happen? Some will repel, some will not repel much. Therefore, we are going to take average energy force for those orbitals. Okay, and this is known as the average energy of d orbitals. Average energy of d orbitals, which is also called as the barycenter, right? So let this be the average. Clear? Average. Now dxy, dyz, dzx, which are in between the axis 3, will repel more. Then dx square minus y square, dz square. Okay, these two orbitals will repel more. Clear? So from the average energy, they will increase energy. From the average energy, these two will decrease energy. And total energy difference, okay, energy difference is taken the delta T. Delta stand for difference, energy gap. T stand for tetrahedral. Okay, so these three together and these two together here. Okay, now here what will happen? This will increase energy by 0.4 times delta T. Remember, so it is exactly inverted now when compared to octahedral crystal field splitting. So I'll be writing a minus 0.6 delta O. Put them together, add them together, 1 delta O. Sorry, 1 delta T. Clear? Right? Now, names also slightly different. They are called as the now only T2 and these are called as the EG. Okay, only E. G is removed. Okay, when compared to the octahedral. In case of octahedral, 6 ligand approaches symmetrically along the 6 directions toward the central metal atom. Here, alternatively toward the tetrahedral directions. Right? So, this is known as the crystal field splitting or d orbital splitting in case of the tetrahedral complexes. Right? Hope it is clear to you people. In case of octahedral splitting, we have got delta O. In case of tetrahedral splitting, we have got delta T. Whenever there are more number of ligands are there, okay, its splitting is always greater compared to less number of ligands. That means delta O energy greater compared to delta T. So that can be written in the form of formula, that is delta T is equal to 4 by 9 times the delta O. Okay, this can be remembered, okay, as a formula. Clear? So in this video I explained the crystal field splitting in tetrahedral and the octahedral complexes. Please like the videos, share the videos and subscribe RD Chemistry and support me. Thank you all.